This happened to me 4 days ago. I was alone at home, chilling on the couch watching TV. Suddenly I felt something really weird. Someone touched my hand, stroked it very gently from the fingers to the wrist. And when I looked up, no one was there. I thought, it must have been a cat or something. But then it happened again. The same thing. Exactly the same. The touch was so realistic, but there was no one around me. So what was this strange feeling? In today's video, we will take a look at this mysterious case and find out why sometimes the things we feel with our body aren't always real. So make sure to watch the whole video. First, we need to talk about something called phantom senses. Have you ever heard of it? No? Not at all? Well, phantom senses is basically when you perceive things with your senses, like touch, hearing, smell, sight, or taste. But those things aren't really there. For example, people who have lost an arm may still feel sensations such as itching or pain in that missing limb. Or some people report hearing their deceased loved ones talking to them. This happens because our brains can play tricks on us. Scientists don't fully understand this yet, but we know that these feelings are produced by our neurons. Neurons are nerve cells that transmit signals throughout the body. They send messages from one part of the body to another via electrical impulses. And sometimes these messages can get mixed up and cause us to feel things that aren't really there. But don't worry. This doesn't mean you're going crazy. It's actually quite common. In fact, according to studies, more than half of us experience at least one type of phantom sensation at some point in our lives. For example, have you ever received a text message on your phone but didn't hear it vibrate or ring? You might have felt the vibration in your pocket even though the phone wasn't actually vibrating. That's an example of a phantom sensation. The question is, why do we get them? Well, scientists believe they are caused by a number of factors. Sometimes they can be triggered by stress or anxiety. Other times they may be caused by a change in our environment, such as moving to a new city or losing a loved one. But in some cases, scientists can't seem to find a trigger at all. Take, for example, the case of a woman named Sarah. She was sitting in her living room one day when she suddenly felt a cold spot on her neck. At first she thought nothing of it, but the feeling persisted, and she began to feel other strange sensations as well, such as tingling, itching, and crawling. Sarah went to see a doctor to find out what was wrong with her, but he couldn't find anything physically wrong. He told her that she was probably just feeling a phantom sensation and sent her on her way. Sarah was confused and frustrated. She didn't know what to make of these strange new feelings, but over time she learned to live with them. Or take the case of a man named John. One day while sitting in his favorite chair, he felt a gentle breeze on his face. He looked around to see if there was a fan or air conditioning nearby, but there was nothing. He realized that he was experiencing a phantom sensation and tried to ignore it. However, the phantom breeze kept getting stronger and soon he could feel it all over his body. John became terrified and called 911. When the paramedics arrived, they took him to the hospital where doctors performed a variety of tests. Again, they couldn't find anything physically wrong with him. Eventually, John was released from the hospital and diagnosed with a rare condition called spontaneous localized sweating. Doctors believe this is the cause of his phantom breeze. Now let's go back to the case I mentioned at the beginning of the video. I was alone in my apartment watching TV when I felt someone stroke my hand. I turned my head and saw nobody. I thought maybe I had imagined it, but then it happened again. I felt the exact same touch on my hand and again there was no one there. So what was going on? Well, I couldn't come up with any logical explanation for what I was experiencing. There was no one else in the room, and even if there was, I would have seen them when I turned my head. But then I remembered something that might help explain this bizarre occurrence. About 2 weeks earlier, I had read an article about phantom sensations and how they can affect people who have lost a limb. Could it be that I was experiencing something similar even though I hadn't lost a limb? To find out, I did some research online and came across a study published in the Journal of Neurology, Neurosurgery, and Psychiatry. The study looked at phantom sensations in people who had never had a limb amputated. The results were surprising. The study found that nearly half of the participants experienced at least one type of phantom sensation, such as feeling a limb move or itch. Some even reported feeling pain in their phantom limbs. One possible explanation for these findings is that our brains are constantly trying to make sense of the world around us. When we lose a limb, our brain receives signals from the remaining limbs telling it where they are in space and how they're moving. But without those signals, our brain has trouble keeping track of where our phantom limb is and may start sending random signals to that area of the body. Our brain tries to compensate for the missing limb by creating phantom sensations. Another explanation is that phantom sensations are a form of memory. Our memories can be triggered by certain smells, sounds, or places, and it's possible that our brains are doing the same thing with phantom sensations. When we lose a limb, our brain remembers the sensations we used to feel in that limb and tries to recreate them. These studies gave me some insight into what I might be experiencing. Could it be that my brain was trying to compensate for a missing limb? Or that it was simply recreating memories of touch sensations I had felt before? Of course, only more research will tell us for sure. In the end, I decided to make the most of this strange situation. I started paying attention to the other sensations I'd been ignoring and was amazed at what I discovered. For example, I began noticing the sound of birds chirping outside my window and the smell of freshly cut grass when I went for walks. I also started appreciating the simple things in life more, like a warm cup of tea on a cold day or a good book. I realized that these little things are what make life worth living. And who knows, maybe my phantom sensations were a blessing in disguise. If you enjoyed this video, please subscribe to the channel and leave a comment down below. We would love to hear your thoughts. Also, if you have any other video suggestions, feel free to comment them down below. Thank you for watching, and we will see you in the next video.